The United States routinely spends more tax dollars per high school athlete than they do per high school math student, unlike most countries worldwide. Academically speaking, U.S. high schools lag behind other countries who spend far less on public education sports programs than we do. Freshman Jenny, who moved here to the United States from South Korea with her family in 2011, was struck by what a big deal sports are in her high school in New Jersey. Her high school fields 18 different sports teams, and her campus has multiple maintained grass fields, 6 tennis courts, and an athletic hall of fame. For Jenny, at her Korean high school back home, school athletic programs consisted of providing a soccer ball, and Jenny's participation in pickup soccer games on a dirt field at lunchtime was the rest of the program. Badminton rackets were brought from home, and they played pretending that there was a net. Of 200 exchange students polled, 9 out of 10 foreign students said that peers here in the United States cared a lot more about sports than do peers back in their home country. U.S. exchange students abroad agreed that peer interest in sports was much greater here as well. This is an American phenomenon, carried over from the early 20th century. Sports in high school was supposed to protect boys' masculinity and distract both boys and girls from vices like gambling, alcohol, and prostitution. Like a Victorian-era moral vaccine for vice amongst youth. Our culture is growing, and it's important to proceed into the 21st century by applying 21st century logic. To create a brighter future for us all, we need to answer the question of where the minds of our youth should be focused upon. Academics or athletic competition? Domestic debates on education reform rarely discuss the correlations between greater high school sports spending and low academic scores, and the reverse vice versa. On the same international math test that Jenny took, Korea ranks 4th in the world, where the U.S. ranks 31st worldwide. Finland, South Korea, and every other top-tier nation in high school academics put very low emphasis on athletics in school. To compete with those nations academically, we probably need to either eliminate or harshly curtail many school-sponsored sports programs in this nation. Student athletes do reap many benefits by participating in sports. The health and enjoyment benefits are undisputable. The reality, though, in respect to the cost, benefits are outweighed by low academic performance. Again, logic dictates that sports for kids should exist only outside the realm of public high school. Other researchers claim that high school sports increases academic performance. Massachusetts produces math scores compared to those of South Korea and Finland, and Mississippi produces math scores compared to those of Trinidad and Tobago, both states with big high school sports budgets. Isn't it funny how when people want something to fit their paradigm bad enough, they'll do almost anything to ignore contrary evidence? For instance, people who hypothesize in a flat earth ignore all the evidence showing that it's round by just sitting on the beach and observing that the ocean's horizon is flat. In Texas, the state threatened to shut down Fremont Independent School District for academic failure and mismanaged funds. The district realized that the high school football program alone cost the district $150,000 per year, which was 1/3 the total teachers' salaries. As a solution, all sports programs were suspended. It turned out that football at Fremont cost $1,300 a player, where a math student per year cost about $618. The first semester the district was spared that cost. 80% of the students passed all their classes, compared to 50% of the students passing all their classes in the previous fall. The district used the savings to give teachers much needed raises which correlate with higher teacher retention, where higher teacher retention correlates with higher academic achievement for students. As a culture, it's vital to care for our teachers. We need them in our schools where their skill is important towards our children's learning. The community, alarmed by the cancellation of the football program, raised $400,000 and donated it to the district. The district, instead of putting it into the football team, invested the money into renovating the high school science labs. For the first time in many years, Fremont High School had a healthy operating balance and no debt. Believe me, I take no pleasure in bringing you this information. It is merely a logical measure that we must take for the good of our nation and the good of our American high schools. Perhaps, if we look to the Fremont fundraising scenario, there is a possible solution that could suit everybody. Analysts compare high school football possible expansion to companies such as Apple, where fan devotion fuels success. Imagine a high school athletic program converted into a nonprofit business to benefit a national school fund, where the money is then evenly distributed amongst American schools. It was Bernie Sanders who said that something is very wrong when 25 hedge fund managers in 1 year can earn more than 425,000 public school teachers. He also said, "Let us wage a moral and political war against war itself, so that we can cut military spending and use that money for human needs." With my little idea for a nonprofit, I think I may have stumbled across a way for the two sides to finally come together. If we take away high school football, then the only thing that'll save it is a totally socialist system. And who wins? Students, teachers, and the whole country. The right will get lots of high-quality sports facilities and television coverage of their high school football teams, and the left will get some real-life socialism that works for the people, not just a few billionaires. It'll be a big boost for the U.S. high school curriculum, and it'll be a big boost for the country in general.